real estate agents? Welcome to the Weekly Closer. I'm your host, Jeff Underwood, along with my co-host, Joey Sampaga. He is the man with the plan. How's it going, Joey?
What's up?
Well, we have an interesting show today.
Yes, we do. This is going to be good.
It is going to be really good. What's going on?
What is that?
I don't know, man.
Help.
I think it's something... Oh, it's the topic today. We're going to be talking about fraud.
Fraud.
Yes, fraud in the real estate title world. And we have with us today Jon Apostle, Vice President of Technical Operations at Security Title Agency. How you doing, John?
Doing well. Thanks, boys.
This is just an exciting topic.
Yes, it is.
It is, and a very relevant topic today, too.
It really
Extremely,
is.
probably more relevant than exciting. No, but we're glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're going to share some interesting things with us, I know. Why don't we jump right into it, John, and share a little bit about maybe how long you've been doing the types of things that you do with IT stuff, and how long you've been with security.
I've been with Security Title over 12 years now, professionally in the IT field over 20 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, I've been at it a little while.
20 years.
Yes,
Wow.
I started off...
You look like you're 12.
Thank you. Started off as a video gamer, and then started building network LANs. And then that led to, hey, I can actually do this kind of stuff, and I'm actually really good at it.
Yeah.
And then dropped out of college, took some technical classes, got all kinds of certifications, and this was during the 90s in California. So during the whole tech bubble and all that stuff, I was there as a subcontractor, working as a independent contractor for several years. And then, moved out to Arizona and did my thing and went back to college, finished out all my degrees, and here I am.
Well, you're going to share with us, I guess, some of the things you're seeing right now in the title world as far as the fraudulent activity, right? And things that I guess fraudsters are trying to pull over.
Yeah, absolutely. With technology becoming part of our lives and walking around with mini computers, I mean, can you think about how it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, the amount of technology that you required to do your job and interact with your customers? Now we've got mini computers running around, and you're able to, e-sign documents on the fly at Starbucks. I mean, it's insane the amount of technology that we have available to us and how much it's become part of our lives. And with that, there's, of course, with the convenience, you're also going to give up some other things. And these fraudsters are getting way more creative. We're seeing a lot of intrusion into both the technology side from, your traditional websites to now down to the smartphone. So, the way technology used to be centered about 15 years ago is we had a castle. And that castle was the only way to get into data, and we had a drawbridge. And that drawbridge allowed certain people to come in and out. Well, as we've started to expand and the access to technologies has increased, we started poking holes in those walls of that castle. So now what we used to traditionally have to only focus on one entry point, and that was your drawbridge, we're now having to focus on all the little holes that we punched that created all these conveniences. And now the industry overall, and I think technology minds as a whole, have to figure out how to secure that by still offering that kind of availability and technology and flexibility.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's kind of what we're seeing in the field. And as far as fraudsters go, they only have to get it right once. And we have to get it right every time. So, they're starting to make entry points into the smartphones. They're attacking websites. They're attacking emails. They're attacking every possible point of entry that they can get into. So whether you have your laptop or your smartphone or your tablet or you're using a kiosk in a hotel, they only have to get one account.
Wow.
We have to protect all those assets for ourselves.
So we're going to go back to a paper check.
And that's really that's where technology needs to go, right? I mean, the beauty of something like that, it was physical. I can trust it. I can transport that. I knew there was only one version.
Yeah.
And what you're getting now is you hear the buzzword the blockchain, and the way cryptocurrency works, and the ability to track even something as simple as produce from start to finish. And the way technology is, we're starting to finally catch up to that. So to your point, the paper check, yes, I cut it and I can walk that and I can hold it and I can track that, and it's easily traceable. What needs to occur in the digital field is we need something just as convenient, not overly complicated, but still produces the same results, right? Okay. And with that technology, we want to be able to say it starts from here, it's stepped on this, and it's gone here, and now it's ended up in the last place.
Got it.
What we're seeing is the hijacking in between.
Got it. Okay.
That's
so
what we're seeing.
Is Wi-Fi just make it worse?
Wi-Fi is one of those convenience things that it's we've gotten used to it, but yes, it opens us up. From a traditional cell phone, and we tell our realtors and we tell anybody, our escrow agents and our sales folks, that if there is something that you're doing that requires some sensitivity, don't use a public Wi-Fi. If anything, disconnect, turn off that Wi-Fi on your phone, go cell phone tower directly to device, and that's a one-to-one translation. When you do use the Wi-Fi, you're connecting to a host that you can't account for.
I see.
And the way the technology exists now is you can spoof those things, and somebody can set up a laptop.
Yeah.
You're working at Starbucks, all of a sudden you drop off, and then it looks like a standard reconnect, but you've gotten into a man-in-the-middle situation.
Got it.
So you're saying to use your phone as a hotspot, but connect directly through, let's say, Verizon or AT&T or their
Absolutely. So that's our method, and that's our preferred method. So a lot of the smartphones now have that capability for hotspotting. A lot of the data programs now support that. I mean, 5 years ago, that would be an expensive endeavor.
Absolutely.
But now, yes, you want to hotspot that phone, connect your laptop directly to your phone, trusted source, and you're just as good to go.
So what are some of the more sophisticated fraud schemes that you're kind of seeing out there?
Yeah, and
or any examples maybe that, whether it's security title or just in the title business in general, that you're hearing about or have seen?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we're seeing is the fraudsters, they're understanding the process, right? So the breach is coming at some point. We don't know where the breach is, at what time the breach is occurring, but they're very patient and they're sitting there and wait, right? So they're monitoring that mailbox, and they're sitting there and they're waiting for keywords. So they're sophisticated enough to understand the title and escrow process. They understand the buy-sell process. They understand the real estate industry. They really do. And they understand our timelines and our time frames.
Right.
They understand what we're asking for at any given point. So what they'll do is they'll sit and they'll wait on a compromised mailbox, and they will watch the process, and when they make that entry point, whether they decide to act as a seller, a buyer, a lender, an escrow officer, or a realtor asking for their check, they know that's their strike point.
Wow.
And once they get that, they lock down that mailbox, so the actual owner can no longer get to that mailbox, right?
Wow.
And then they start acting on behalf and taking that identity.
And I'm assuming that this is not necessarily a person sitting there watching it. It's probably a program.
Absolutely. So
a lot of artificial intelligence may be included in this thing?
Absolutely. And that's what we're seeing now is we're trying to eliminate certain keywords in the obvious spaces, like your subject line. Eliminate that kind of stuff. Little tips like that. So when they're sitting there and they're scanning these mailboxes, you're not getting hit by that bot triggering, hey, there's an active report, and then all of a sudden you get a body that's there manipulating it.
Wow.
Right? So they've gotten very sophisticated, both in the process and the AI, the tracking. They're getting really sophisticated with all this.
Wow. Okay. So what are you guys doing as far as preventing or even protecting customers?
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing the industry overall create a lot of encryption, and we're going that route.
Only
just
share
like
what you can, because
Yes. So secured portals. We're trying to create. We're getting back into trying to validate the endpoints in the conversation, right? With email, it's convenient. So a lot of these free email accounts, it might be on your workstation, it might be on your smartphone, it might be in many other places that you can communicate from, and it does lend to convenience. But what we're seeing now is a pullback and a need for some type of consolidated communication that's validated, right? So there are technologies like that we're all already starting to deploy and have deployed. But more importantly, what we can use to combat this is the education, right? Making our escrow officers aware of this, the techniques, and keeping them aware on best practices. Also, with our partners, there's certain things that usually tip us off when there's a fraud in play, but you can't always trust the communication. You still got to have a little bit of that skepticism and still use that human touch, right? I mean, because honestly, if we can get this whole process to work with automation, you remove that human factor, then you remove that additional oversight, right? And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that we have a full customer service type of experience without causing too much of a pain that it's hard to work with the entity itself.
Yeah. Well, I think with how much money we're talking, it's probably worth a little bit of pain.
Yeah.
To have to drive here to do this or come here and sign this, and I think technology sometimes makes it too convenient.
Yes.
Because it's not only convenient to us, but it's convenient to those who want access to what we have.
Yeah, absolutely. And then technology is one of those weird things that the overall force behind it wants to push that envelope as fast and as hard as we can, but then in real life you have to you do hit that wall where you do find that edge and you do have to pull back. Right. Whether that's social media and your exposure or technology and convenience, there's got to be a happy balance that you've got to hit, and we strive to hit that for both our customers without inconveniencing them, without inconveniencing our business partners and the endpoint, the buyers and the sellers. I mean, you want to keep their confidence at the same time offering that same convenience that they've become accustomed to in all aspects of their life. On the same time, securing all that data.
Okay.
Because it's very important.
Probably, if someone is buying a house or selling a house, they shouldn't probably put it on social media at that time and say, "Hey, we're looking to buy a house," and because that kind of tips off the fraudsters, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we've seen recently was with these free information, right? I mean, like you're saying, social media, we're just putting it out there. We're giving information, right, freely.
Sure.
So what we've seen also is somebody would sit, and as soon as the listing gets on, a free real estate listing site, and anybody has access to that with no account, we're starting to see that where they're starting to data mine those and come back and say, "Hey, I've got your property on this, I'm working on, I'm the processor on this property. I need this information from you."
Wow.
Okay.
So we're seeing that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a give and take with social media. Yeah, you're excited and you want to share some information, but maybe not so much information, or be really scrutinize what you're actually sharing. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So how about phishing schemes? There's a lot of different names for them, right? And we're talking PH, not F, in phishing.
Yeah.
So what are some of those things out there? I mean,
we've seen them as generic as even going to our escrow officers, pretending to be lenders. Here's your package. Click on this link. That's very generic. That's easy to scrutinize.
And most of that's all through email, right?
Yeah, usually most of them are email based, and they want them to either log in with a portal or something to that effect. And that's your generic lazy ones. We call those the lazy ones.
Yeah.
The real sophisticated ones where they get into spear phishing. And that's where they're targeting.
I hadn't heard that. So.
And that's where they're targeting an actual individual.
Wow.
And because, like we're saying, social media and the presence that we have out there, they might gravitate towards either an escrow officer or a realtor. Just looking at a website, get their email address and tag them and go after them individually. So, Mr. Seller, hey, that's who I am. I'm targeting my realtor, Joe. Hey, Joe, remember I talked to you 3 months ago. I need this information, or hey, Mr. Escrow Officer, where's my closing fund? So there's a lot of tricks, and it's not just as generic anymore. They're getting really sophisticated and targeting individuals. So your exposure on social media, along with maybe a company website or anything like that, they're targeting.
So more personal than just the email that you get from overseas, right? That says,
that
we've
Nigerian
got a
prince
fortune for you here.
Wow.
You just need to put your information.
That Nigerian prince, that he loves sending
Yeah.
that stuff out, but no, they're getting really sophisticated. They're acting on behalf of a party that would be privy to this information.
Yeah. Wow.
They're creating funnels. Oh man, that's scary stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Anything else you think that the agents that are watching or listening need to know?
I think it's a good idea. Maybe what tips can you give to us as agents on how we can educate our buyers and sellers as well as ourselves?
Yeah, I think the important part is what we can't deliver in technology, right? I mean, we can create all these countermeasures. We can create the technology. We can create the hardware that's going to harden all this. But in reality, the key to all of this is the human side, the customer service that we're delivering, right? It's setting that expectation early in the process. Talk to your buyers and sellers. I'm going to contact you, introduce yourself. This is how we're going to communicate. Set that expectation early. And if you do that, I think they have a better reception on what you want to use. So if I come out and say, I'm going to use this platform to talk to you, if you have any questions, please call me directly. If anything looks weird, call me directly.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the key is getting that human factor back into it and really delivering that customer service. Like I said, we can process this like any other business, and you just enter things on a website. I kick you back an email, you're approved, disapproved, or whatever. You click the 5 that you like, and I'll shoot you one. But this is not Amazon. This is not eBay. This is a relationship-based business. And if you're going to, you want to combat this stuff, the best way to do it is pick up that phone. Pick up that phone, set that expectation early, set that relationship up, that you do build that trust, and they understand that there is a person on the other side that is acting on their behalf with their best interest. And I think that's really the key to this whole fraud thing, and the expectations of how we interact with business, and kind of walking that fine line between convenience and protection.
Yeah. So the as agents now, we have a document, the wire fraud document. So that's probably a good idea to really emphasize the importance of what you just said.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, again, that's what we were talking about, setting that expectation early. I'm going to send you this right off the top of the bat, but it's not going to be a blind email I'm going to fire off.
Yeah.
I might want to pick up that phone first.
Sure.
I'm sending you this email. I need you to read through it. I need you to sign it. I need you to sign off that you've read it and understand it. Maybe even go through that form with them over the phone if you have questions. This is the only number I'm going to call. So if you're sending me any other information, then we're going to stop this process. We're going to go back. If as the agent, I'm going to initiate the call. So if I get a call saying, "Hey, I'm the buyer, I need this," okay, well let me call you back, and then you initiate the call. And that way you're sure that you're calling somebody, because there's a lot of software that will spoof numbers or hide behind certain numbers, and you can block numbers. But initiating that call, again, the customer service, you're engaging the customer, you're initiating the call, and there's a trusted source. The number that you're aware, and you're going to set that expectation early. The email I'm only going to send to you is going to be here. It's not, john@gmail.com. It's going to be at my official @security title. So little things like that. There's tip-offs, but but you can catch those real quick if you have that relationship with your customers.
Makes sense.
But probably setting the stage with who's involved with the transaction, making sure that the clients know exactly who at title, exactly who at the lender, and if there's anything outlier that kind of pops up, that definitely getting the agent involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about that. The emails, yes, they're convenient, but they can easily grab your signature line. They can grab your picture. They can even create a fake Facebook page that looks just like you.
Wow.
But ultimately, if you establish that communication early and you set that expectation, you create that relationship, then you weed out those things real quick.
All right.
And it's the ones that don't set that stuff up, that try to be 100% email. You're not doing your customer any favors.
Wow, this has been good info.
This is real.
This is a great show.
Yeah.
I'm glad you stopped in here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we'll get this out to the agents. Thanks so much for doing that. You know, we normally ask some rapid fire questions at the end, but why don't we do this? Why don't we? Let's see. You said in the late '90s you were in California, right?
Yes, sir.
With kind of into the gaming scene a little bit.
Yeah.
Online. So, what was your favorite games or game back then?
You know, that was Counter-Strike, Quake. So yeah, a lot of first person team domination kind of games. Yeah.
All right.
A lot of that stuff. And that was we still had to shotgun several DSLs together to get a decent connection. We didn't have cable internet, you know, so it was setting up huge PC towers in small rooms and entire networks.
Was that when AOL was big?
Yeah, you had to set aside those CDs to get those free minutes.
That's so
for
funny.
sure.
Well, what do you think of the new things now? I don't do it, but I mean,
it's
I heard they have some
today.
crazy like
VR
chairs and stuff like that you just lean back.
Yeah, back in the day, you'd have to pay for that game, right? You had to save your money and buy that DVD to download that game. And what we're seeing now is that whole transition, and my kids are getting into it now. So it's funny to watch it come full circle. The games are free; they're handing that out.
Wow.
Now it's the content.
Yeah.
The the downloadable content is what they're asking
That's
for.
smart.
You need new upgrades that you're paying for the upgrades.
Paying for the money, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You need
so
the
you
upgrade
already
to
got
get
you
to
already
get
got
them
them
hooked first.
Exactly. You already got them hooked, right?
Oh, wow.
And
That's so funny.
it's that whole avatar kind of world.
Yeah.
This is my character. This is my other. This is I'm invested. It wasn't like in the 90s where, hey, I just had a character, he's gone, and I start over again, respawn.
Got it. Wow.
Yeah, it's really involved.
So
That's
no
so
more
funny.
no more Atari or ColecoVision or anything
Yeah,
like
I
that.
still have the Nintendos,
Yeah,
and
I
I
do
still
too.
love
I do
those.
too.
I do remember the Atari.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you go through, you only had 3 guys, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, game's over.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember how awesome Asteroids was.
Asteroids was a good game.
There you go.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming in, John.
Thanks, guys.
This has been great. John, again, Vice President over here at Security Title of Technical Operations, looking out for your safety.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Till next time. Take care.
Cool. Thanks a lot, guys.
Good job.
Come on.
Great.